Okay, so welcome back to GameChanger. This is little Kai, and
All right, so that beautiful sound that you just heard was my beautiful son, Daka. I love having him around. I love hearing his voice, and he loves daddy. So, yeah, let's get to it. All right, so we're doing a drop fade of my boy Peter here. Peter doesn't get an edge up, so that means we have to focus more on the execution of the fade to make sure that even without an edge up, we can hide or remove all imperfections, and then I'll go ahead and detail how I execute the beard as well. So first thing we're doing a drop fade. So a drop fade means that the fade will drop down lower than in the back than it does in the sides. Usually it drops below the occipital bone, which is the bone at the back of the head above the nape of the neck. It's kind of that little bump that when you touch the back of your head, it protrudes a little bit. All right, so yeah, and if you see right now what I'm doing with this primary line, I like to make it really sharp and straight and even. Now, is it a major detail? No, it's very minute, but small details yield big results in the final product. Trust me on that. So I like a nice, sharp, uniform line that's symmetric all the way around. So that way my fade is nice, sharp, and uniform all the way around. Believe it or not, right, the fade that you do, no matter how great the fade is, it will take shape on that primary line. So what I'm doing right now is I'm cutting a one down on Peter's hair. This is my Andes magic clip. My Walls magic clip. And I have a 1 guard, which is a 1/8 guard. I'm cutting them down with the grain, nice and smooth. Whenever you have so Peter, he got a haircut about 2 or 3 weeks prior to this, but whenever you have a client that hasn't had a haircut in a while, it may look a little fuzzy when you cut it down with that 1 or 2. What you can do, you can come back with the warm rag, lay the hair down, soften those cuticles up to give it a nice desired look and lay that hair down. Now, this is my secondary line that I'm inserting right here, or that I'm implementing. I'm using my Ergo Gamma to put that secondary line in. So if you look right here, what I'm doing now is I'm fading in that primary line, or the first line. So I have a primary line, a secondary line, a primary section, which is the light section, and a secondary section. Those are my 4 zones, or my 4 steps. Now what I'm doing right now is I'm actually blending or fading in the primary line into the primary section. So at the end of this haircut, it's going to give you one uniform, smooth, beautiful transition. But I break it down into 4 parts because the lighter the area, the easier to fade, first off. And then anything is easier when steps. It's like when you're training an athlete, or when you're training a child, or when you're teaching a kid educational values, or you don't just go full throttle. You break things down into as many compartments or to as many components as possible. And I do the same thing with a haircut when I'm trying to teach you all. So if you see now, when I took that primary line away, you see it's gone now. This is the primary line. I didn't totally take that hair away though, that in the primary section. You see the hair is still there, it's just faded out. If I was to cut all that hair out and say that I'm fading that line away, what happens is that now I'm just running all of that line up into that secondary section, which can in turn give me a hard line to get out in the secondary section, or it'll just give me a mean chili bow. So I fade it out, but I still have my my primary section. I hope all that makes sense. If not, just rewind it. I'm just trying to talk you through my thoughts. I usually freestyle this, so it's like a memoir, my notes of what I'm doing as I'm doing it, because I'm watching the video along with you all. Now, sometimes if I see something, I like to hit it. So I like to debulk or taper that beard in. If you see what I did was I cut with the grain first to get those hairs that stand up. It's kind of like a form of debulking. And then I come back and I take my time and I freehand the top. And to be honest, I don't know if I knew I was teaching this class. I don't know why I went to the beard. I think my ADD kicked in. So please forgive me, but I might as well talk you through that. And he's falling asleep. It's peaceful in the room. I don't talk much, especially when I'm cutting or performing the craft. And plus I shot an ASMR video on this haircut, so I think it put Peter to sleep. So yeah, I'm just kind of blending that in. It's going to look really good when I edge that beard up, by the way. But there we go. We back to it now. All right. So now I have a 1.5. I've faded the primary line in to the primary section. Now before I fade the secondary line into the secondary section, which actually brings everything together, uniforms it, I'll debulk. What is debulking? Debulking is when I take the mass or the thickness or the density out of that line that's going to bring this section together. So at the bottom of the secondary line, that's where the hair is the thickest at. So what I'll do is debulk. I'll take a 2-guard, depending on how thick the client's hair or how long the hair is in that secondary section, and I'll just debulk it. I'm not so much cutting or fading or blending or, transitioning. I'm just debulking or taking the mass out. After I do that, then I'll do the same thing, but with the 1-guard. So I kind of fade down. 1.5, 1-guard, then I get saucy, and then I bring it together. So, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to talk until it's time. And I use my comb. Why do you use the comb instead of the brush? Because the comb helps keeps the hair spaced. The brush actually clumps the hair together. That's what a wave is. The wave is a compressed curl. I don't want waves. I want to space the hair out so I can give it a nice, clean, crisp look or fade. Now I'm debulking with my 1-guard. Same thing I did with the 1.5, but now I got the 1-guard. If you see, look at my offhand, which is where my thumb is. The left hand, I'm stretching the skin. I'm making a longer workspace because I tighten the skin. It gives me more space to work. Also, a tighter skin or tighter surface makes it much easier for the clipper to glide across the skin. Also, when it comes to fading, right, I'm never aggressive with the clippers. I take my time. I'm very smooth with the strokes. I have longer strokes, shorter strokes. I have very mini strokes, but it all depends on what that section requires. A longer stroke, I'm taking more hair off. A smaller, tighter stroke, I'm hitting a specific tiny area. And also, if you notice, I don't always use the full guard or the full head of that clipper. Sometimes I use the corners because I'm hitting a smaller spot. So it's all about studying what you're doing, where you're doing it, and you assess as you go. I hope that makes sense. I get some comments that say things like, I don't teach for beginners, but I try to teach you the best way. I try to break it down to the most micro way possible. But if it's something that you need to know exactly, let me know. For example, I hear people say, well, where's the lever? What lever are you? That question makes no sense to me. I've heard barbers teaching that way, but without being disrespectful, this is why I say, if I teach you choppy or if I teach you in chops or in steps like that, your fade will be in steps. You have to go off a feel, off of a flow, and you will cut off of a feel, off of a flow. In turn, the fade will flow. Does that make sense? So now that I've debulked, what I do next is I bring it all together. Now that area is light, now I just transition that secondary line right into that secondary section, which brings the primary section right along with it. All right, so look, I'm using the corners. I'm hitting that line. I'm not going too high, and I'm focused on the area that I'm focused on. And I hope y'all see it coming together. It's looking good. So you all watch and study. I've said a lot. I want you to digest. Rewind if you have to. Don't be afraid to rewind. I think it's good to go back and study because I said a lot. I talk a lot. All right, you all enjoy it, and I'll be back when it's time for the beard. Remember, okay, now let me speak on that. I'm not leaving. Sorry. It's very difficult to execute a fade without an edge up because usually no matter how good a fade is, there may be imperfections that a great edge up will hide. So when the client comes in and asks for no edge up, now you have to be very detailed and confident in the execution of the fade, which I am. Like if you see that fade, it is coming together. No excuses about how great Peter's hair texture is. He has a very nice hair texture, very strong, coarse hair texture. I love it. I love it. I love the strength. I love the coarseness. I love the density. But Peter also has inconsistent densities in certain areas. So what I'm saying is that it's not about the hair texture or the quality or the density of the hair. What it is how well do you execute, because it should all look the same on every hair texture. All right, so you all watching. I'll be back soon. right, so we back. How that fade look to y'all? I like it a lot. So I kind of went over this already. The most important part when you're edging up a beard is where that edge up is going to be. You want to cut those hairs down, because if you don't, they can hang over. So you kind of want the top where the edge will be a little shorter than the rest of the beard. So that way it'll be nice, sharp, and that line will stand out from whatever angle a person looks at the beard. And again, shave gel coming. I'm working, but I ain't gonna lie, like it's gonna be a game changer. I mean, look, the product talks for itself. I don't use it's a thick, translucent gel. It's one of the main ingredients is aloe. Very healthy for the skin. It's a moisturizer. It helps prevent irritation. And then all products, hair cosmetic products, have to sit on the shelf. The preservatives that we use are very, very healthy, very natural. How do I know? Because this is not a cookie cutter formula. I sat with a chemist, a local chemist, and biologist, and we talked about things that I wanted and didn't want. And obviously, I wanted something that represented the brand well. And this is what we got. So I'm super excited. One thing I probably would change is maybe the fragrance. I didn't do much fragrance. I wanted to keep it real natural the first time around. But yeah, and still, back to the beard. When you're razor edging, you want to pull the skin with the opposite hand. The trick with a razor is that the tighter the skin, the heavier the head on your razor blade handle, means you have to apply less pressure. The easier it is for that razor to glide across the skin. That's it. Obviously, I made that sound much easier than what it really is, but it's simple. Reps. How do you become a better shooter? It's not so much technique, which it is form, but the more you shoot, the better you get. Why do you say that? There's multiple different ways to do things, but the more reps, the more patient, the better you become. All right, so I hope you all enjoyed this tutorial. Like I said, please, any questions, concerns you have, let me know. Stay tuned. If you want to follow me on Instagram, my name is DWright04, DWRIGHT04. Product coming soon. Peter came out looking great. The fade, I love it. I think I did a phenomenal, stellar, intergalactical job on it. As long as the client loves it, you all love it. I'm just talking at this point. Again, my wife got me this mic, and I'm still in love with it. I'm about to trim the beard, get him right. Peter has a man's man, a manly man beard, a man's man. Y'all take care. Holla at y'all. See y'all later. Game Changer out. Leave me a nice comment and share the video. Share. Oh, yeah, you want to come talk to him? Come on. He been here with me the whole time. Come talk to him again. What you going to say?
Hi.
Come on. You said hi. Say something else. Come on. The video.
My name is Zakai.
Okay. Video almost over. You gotta say something. You see yourself in the video?
Yeah. And you cut him and
who the best barber ever?
You.
Okay.
And me.
And you better than me, right?
Yes.
There we go. I love you.
Okay, bye.
See you later.